everybody, it's EK from EK Gorman Designs, and I am sneaking in today with the second part of my 5 fast cards featuring the Watercolor Dreams card making kit from White Rose Crafts. If you missed the first part or unboxing of this video, I will make sure to link it up there in the corner. And here we go, right away, starting off, no delays, card 1. I pulled out one of the really pretty papers that is included in the kit and simply trimmed it up to fit my card frame. Pulled out one of the included sentiments from the stamp set and inked it up and stamped it straight onto the printed paper. My theory was this printed paper's pretty stunning on its own. It didn't need a whole lot to make the card extra special. So here I am stamping it on. Yeah, pretty simple. I needed a little bit of something else, so I pulled out the small feather and stamped it throughout the image where there was kind of blank space. And then realized I could play with it a little bit more. Now, I have this little, it's a coaster. For lack of a better word, it's a coaster, but it's porcelain and it's perfectly smooth. And if I put ink on it and wet it up, it becomes a beautiful watercolor palette. And I use it for little things like this. But I'm using my watercolor brush just to touch in a little bit of that scrapberry ink and green inside the feather. And I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really planning to go this way with the card, and this became my favorite card of today's collection. Yep, right off the bat you're seeing my favorite card. I pulled out the Dove Craft glitter glue that's included in the kit and added a couple drops here, and there you go, there's your first card from today's collection. It's a super simple card, but I think it turned out looking really cool. For card 2, I wanted to do some stamping with the included stamp set. So I pulled out the big feather and the green scrapberry water-soluble ink, and started just stamping the big feather all over my card frame. And I love how the card frame just became its own piece of printed paper. Like, I really think it turned out really cool. Now, I needed a little bit something more, so I pulled out that small stamp, and using some VersaFine black onyx ink, I stamped the little feather throughout the image again. Just kind of overlapping it, letting it stick off the page. You'll notice in a minute that I didn't fill in the space quite right. I did trim up the topper that's included in the card kit a little bit, so it was just a smidge smaller. And I wanted, and I see here, fixing the feather holes. But I inked up the topper with some of that black ink so it would match the background real nicely. Added a little bit of adhesive and added it to the card frame. Yes, I got adhesive onto my mat. You'll notice me fight the adhesive on my mat for quite some time. I pulled out the included glitter glue the Dove Craft glitter glue. Didn't think the pink would look great, so I pulled out some from my personal stock in a clear and added it to the card. And there you go, there's the second card. For the third card, I trimmed up some of the printed paper and one of the toppers and trimmed it down so it was a smaller section of the card. Yep, still fighting that piece of adhesive. Added adhesive to the card, or the printed paper, and inked up the edges with the scrapberry green ink, just so there was some visual interest around the printed paper. Inked up the topper as well so it would coordinate, and let some of the ink actually go onto the topper. And this time I wanted to use a little bit of the lace that is included in the card kit. So I just added a little bit of extra adhesive on the bottom of the topper and on the top of the topper and just laid the lace straight onto it, trimmed it up with my scissors, and then adhered it to the card frame. I added a couple drops of Dove Craft glitter glue. And really, that's simple, but the printed paper is so cool, you don't need to do a whole lot else with this. For card 4, I took 2 of my pieces of scrap that are left over from other trimmed up paper and proceeded to stamp. I pulled out some pigment ink from Scrapberry and just stamped the heart all over the card frame so it had a little bit of visual appeal. Pulled out the other heart from the included stamp set and added some light brown pigment ink across the card frame. And at this moment, the two colors don't really look like they go together, but once I add the printed paper onto it, I think it actually ties everything real nicely together. I went ahead and added my sentiment in black, just a simple Discover right there into kind of one of the holes in the paper, and then inked up the scrap of printed paper with some of the blue pigment ink and adhered it to the card frame. See, all of a sudden now the brown and the blues make sense. I inked up the second piece, added a little bit more adhesive, and simply glued it down. The card needed just a little bit something else, so I pulled out some of the embellishments and added just that kind of three-dimensional embellishment right there onto the card. And there you go, that's the fourth card. For my fifth card, I pulled out another set of scraps that had been already used from the printed paper and another one of the toppers and adhered them down onto the card frame, this time not creating any stamping underneath. I think the layout was kind of interesting and visually appealing despite being really, really simple. I adhered the card topper onto the card frame and added some of the floral, it's not floral, the leaf ribbon to the card. And just pulled out a little bit of glossy accents to glue down the ribbon. This is not one that goes real well with the my runner, so I actually needed something kind of adhesive that's more of liquid. And I trimmed up any excess that was there. If I will tell you, as of publishing this, it looks like all of the Watercolor Dreams card kits are sold out. So if you're one of the lucky ones to get one, let me know in the comments below what you've been creating with your card kit. Are you making cards or are you scrapbooking? This actually lends itself to scrapbooking just as easily as it does to card making. Missed out on the Watercolor Dreams card kit? Don't be upset. There are other card kits available at White Rose Crafts and you can go peek them out. Now today I have a bonus card. I pulled out one of the card frames included in the kit and the Martha Stewart white heart stickers and just lined them up, simple as that. I thought the white hearts really stood out beautifully on this blue background. And just really enjoyed kind of how, I don't know, the texture of the card, plus the texture of the hearts, plus the crisp, clean white. It just all looked really appealing to me. Now, in hindsight, I could have left the hearts in the middle off, because once I put down the card topper, yes, this one I trimmed up too. The card toppers are a little big for me, so I like trimming them down so you can see more of the card. I could have easily left some of those center hearts out, because, see, and I even thought about pulling them up and reusing them, but alas, I didn't. That's it. That's all I did on the card to kind of create some kind of visual appeal. Now I wanted to do a little something on the envelope. So I pulled out the heart stamp from the stamp set and reused my blue scrapberry ink to stamp out some hearts onto the card, the envelope. And there you go. That's the bonus card today. Super simple, but yet I think really fun. It would be a fun card to receive. Thanks for tuning in today for my 5 fast cards plus the bonus card. Let me know in the comments below what of the supplies in this kit you're most excited to see. Until then, happy crafting.